Let's build! Boom! And welcome back to Let's Build, the show where I take a deck or archetype I've never played before and do my best to learn it from scratch. I'm Hardleg Joe, if ya didn't know, joined once again by Twitch chat, doing a whole bunch of silly emotes. Look at those guys, they're just being nice and friendly, just having a good time. And also Critter's here. And he's in his little Halloween costume. He's having a good time because it's the spooky month, and that means it's time to build Scareclaws. Perhaps the scariest Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype? I don't actually know. I actually know very little about these. I mean, they have scare in the name, but I'm mostly doing this thanks to a Patreon request. Damon Dario has donated in order to see a Let's Build, and they wanted me to build Scareclaws, which is something I always kind of wanted to do. I don't know a lot about this deck, but I know that it's kind of an OTK beatdown strategy. People have told me it's very similar to Crusadia, which is one of my favorite decks, so I've been eager to jump into it again. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this show, unfamiliar with how things get done here, the idea is it's a blind deck building show. I'm going to go in, I'm going to read all the cards, and then I'm going to do my best to use my years of Yu-Gi-Oh! Experience to figure out how this works without looking at any other guides or deck builds. Now, as a result, this will not be the best Scareclaw deck, probably won't even be a great Scareclaw deck, but it should teach you how the archetype works and how you can build decks without having to look at a bunch of other stuff. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sit down, have a nice time, just read some scary stories to thrill in the dark or whatever, and learn to play a deck. Alright, so with the introduction out of the way, you know where to start. Chat knows where to start. It's always the same place. Chat, let 'em hear it. That's right, most of you, the field spell. The field spell is where we begin, and I'm pretty sure this has a field spell, right? Primitive Planet Reichphobia. Like all the Visa Starfrost things, they not only have a field spell, they have a whole planet's worth of field spells. And I realize I'm a little tall. There we go, just get my hat out of the way here. But yeah, when this card is activated, add one Scareclaw or Visa Starfrost from your deck to your hand. Already, great start. Instant 3 of. You're gonna play anything that searches any monster, you're going to play 3 of, because that's consistency, baby. What else does it do? Maybe this will give us some hint as to what Scareclaw's playstyle is. Monsters your opponent controls lose 100 attack and defense for each defense position monster on the field. If 3 or more defense position monsters are on the field, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. You can only use this effect once per turn, and you can only activate one Reichphobia once per turn. Alright, so we got the field spell. From there, we're looking for a win condition. And while they do have some pretty beefy monsters, and so a lot of spells and traps and stuff, I think the safest place to look is in the extra deck. Usually extra deck monsters are key to understanding your win condition, and they have 2 of them. A tiny little Link 1, and a big old Link 3, and it's probably the big one that's the boss monster. If I had to guess, this one probably searches the field spell or something. We'll see, we'll see. First, let's go over the big bad, Scareclaw Tri-Heart. This is 3 effect monsters, so fairly generic materials, 3000 attack, and all of its arrows face down. You can't see it because I've got the Rush Duel card art up here. But down here where the Link is rated, you can see what the 3 arrows are. So, must be Link summoned, so I guess that means you can't revive it out of the graveyard. All face-up monsters on the field are changed to defense position. Well, there you go. It's Bagooska at home. All monsters go to defense. You've solved it. I was sitting here trying to think of what kind of floodgates we might need to play, like stumbling or whatever, to put everything in defense. We don't. We just have to get 3 monsters on the field, and this takes care of everything, which is great. You don't have to put in a whole bunch of floodgates. It is a floodgate. So what else? Unaffected by the activated effects of defense position monsters. Alright, pretty good. So anything other than a Link isn't going to be able to get over this. And once per turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, you can target one level 3 Scareclaw in your graveyard, special summon it, and if you do, add one Scareclaw monster from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Scareclaw monsters. Alright, so it is Monster Reborn and Rhoda. It targets a graveyard, summons it, and then adds a monster from the deck to the hand. It can even be the same monster. Locks you into Scareclaws, but at this point when you've already got this out, I don't think that really matters. So really we're going to be looking at what do these level 3, it's specifically level 3, it's not level 3 or lower. So even though we've got a 4 to 7, these 3 seems like they're going to be key components of it. Before we go into that though, let's go ahead and read this other link. What does this link 1 do? We've got a bobblehead looking fucker, Scareclaw Lightheart, only 500 attack, and 1 arrow that faces that away. I'm reversed on the thing, okay. 1 arrow that points that away, and you can use 1 Scareclaw or 1 Visa Starfrost to make it. For this card's Link Summon, you can only use monsters in your main monster zone as material. Okay, so you can't use the Link 3 as material to make this. If this card is Link Summoned in the extra monster zone, you can add 1 Primitive Planet Reichphobia from your deck to your hand. If you control Visa Starfrost, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. You can only use this effect once per duel. Alright, so it's only the last effect that has the once per duel. Everything else doesn't even have a once per turn. Although realistically, you can get 2 of the field spells, but you can only activate 1 per turn. And actually, this is the link that searches the field spell. It's exactly what I thought it would be. And also the meme. So any monster in here gets you this. This gets you the field spell gets you any monster. So 1, and then you get into this. How do you get to 3 is the question. We need some way to special summon. Maybe the monsters special summon themselves. Let's see. We've got 3 of them. They've all got 0 attack. Let's just start with this one, this pupper. Scareclaw Baloney. It's just baloney. He's full of baloney, what can I say? And he's got big needles floating over him. 0 attack, 1700 defense. You can special summon this from your hand to a main monster zone, adjacent to a Scareclaw you control or in its column. You can only special summon 1 per turn this way. If your Scareclaw monster in the extra monster zone attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Alright, so now I'm seeing the Crusadia reference. You've got a bunch of things that work around boosting up a single Link monster, and it special summons itself. I assume, just glancing over, these all have the same summoning requirement. To a main monster zone adjacent to a Scareclaw or in its column. Adjacent or in its column. Okay. So you normal summon one of these, you make the Lightheart, you get the field spell searches another one, and then you can just special summon it in the same column, so you put it behind it, since this will be in the extra monster zone. And then if you can get any other Scareclaw, that can go to the left or right or that one, because it's adjacent. Then once you get 3, it's Triheart. Triheart can target 1 in the graveyard, special summon it, and then add 1 from your deck to your hand. Alright, so you get 1 of these back, and then you can search another one. If you haven't already summoned it, you get that. And I'm assuming that, like this one, they all give it some effect. So that one gives it piercing. What does this one do? Your Scareclaw monsters in the extra monster zone can attack a number of times each battle phase, up to the number of defense position Scareclaws you control with different names. Alright, and this one, your Scareclaws in the extra monster zone gain 300 attack for every defense position monster you control. Alright. So if you get this, and you have all 3 of these behind it, you're going to have a, 3900 attacker that can attack 3 times and deals piercing damage? Yeah, that's an OTK. That's the OTK. So let's just go ahead. We're probably gonna need at least 2 of those. Probably 2 of those. You could probably play 3 if you want to play something that something like Extravagance that gets rid of the extra deck in order to search. And then everything else, we're just playing all of these at 3 because you just want to draw as many Scareclaws as possible. All you need is different names, and you just want to spam them out onto the field. And it's, yeah, very simple. It's very rare in this series that we read exactly the field spell, the monster, and then like a couple of the main decks and just immediately hone in on, here is the win condition. Everything else is superfluous, and really you just gotta ask yourself at this point, Does this help the win condition, or is it like extra? Do we even need it? So I guess we'll find out. We already went through the monsters, so I guess we just go through the other two monsters. They've got their own version of Visa Starfrost, Scareclaw Reichhardt. So this is a level 4 warrior, 1500 attack, 2100 defense, like all the Visa retrains. They have his stats but flipped, if you didn't know. And you can special summon this from your hand to a main monster zone adjacent to a Scareclaw or in its column. Alright, so it just, you know, it just does the same thing. Does it give an effect to the Scareclaws, though? You can only special summon one Reichhardt once per turn this way. If this is normal or special summoned, add a Scareclaw spell trap from your deck to your hand. Then, if 3 or more defense position monsters are on the field, draw a card. Ah, interesting. I see. Doesn't necessarily help your Link, but I mean, it's good material. It searches the spell trap. And if you've got things set up already, then it's essentially like an engage, right? Like you search a spell and then draw a card. Granted, unlike Sky Striker, where that's a resource heavy, like you're gonna be getting a bunch of pluses, this feels like it would already be over once you get to the battle phase. If you get to main phase, if you get to the second turn and you activate it, it's nice, but that's not why you're playing this. It doesn't search the field spell. All right, thank you, chat, for letting me know that. It searches a Scareclaw, and the field spell is called Primitive Planet Reichphobia. It is not a Scareclaw field spell. So we really gotta hope that one of these other spells does something, and I guess we'll go over those in a moment. First, I want to look over the newest one. This one is, I believe, being released in Master Duel shortly, or maybe it'll already be out by the time this video comes out. We'll see. But this is Scareclaw Kashtira, which I just gotta say, I always like it when they combine archetypes. It's neat. It's a fun little thing. Alright, so this is a level 7, which I guess makes sense, you know. Kashtiras, they're level 7s. 2600 defense, so it's got the 0 attack like the Scareclaws. During the main phase, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, banish one Kashtira or Scareclaw from your hand or graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. This card can attack while in defense position, and if it does, apply its defense for damage calculation. If your Kashtira or Scareclaw monster battled an opponent's monster, that opponent's monster's effects are negated until the end of this turn. Very interesting. So, on the one hand, it doesn't help you a whole lot. I mean, it is a Scareclaw name. It does add 2600 to your OTKs, and it can be used as material. You do have to banish another Scareclaw, which you kind of want to revive them, but if you already have multiples in hand, or if you have multiple copies of this, you could do that. And it gets around some of the few things that might be able to stop you. People are pointing out in chat that Abramax is something that this could have trouble dealing with, because Abramax can it never loses a battle. Whenever it battles something, it gains attack equal to their attack. But this says when you attack, it just negates the effects. It doesn't target or anything. So this is a way to get rid of stuff. So at the moment, I'm kind of stuck. On the one hand, it feels like, you know, maybe it's an extender. Maybe we should play 3 of it. On the other hand, maybe it's something you just search out if you're playing into a board and you know you need to negate stuff. And it might be bricky at multiple copies. So here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do a compromise. We're gonna play 2 for now. Maybe when we get later on, we start testing, we'll realize if it's a 1 or a 3. You generally don't want to play things at 2. If it's good enough to play, it's good enough to play at 3. You only really want 1-ofs if you can search it. And we do have a bit of searching. We're gonna search like every turn, no matter what. So we can get to this. It's just a matter of how good of an extender is and how many other extenders do we need. Because this just takes effect monsters. Like we could do anything. In fact, what we might do is put in like a Fenrir and then we can search this because it's a Kashtira card. That would be neat. And then we have an extender and we got something on the field. Hard to say, hard to like. We'll get to that when we get to it. Before we go looking into other archetypes and different tech cards and stuff, I first want to finish reading up the rest of what Scareclaw has to offer. We know that we've got a monster, we're playing at 3, that can search spells and traps, so it behooves us to read all the spells and traps, because if they're even slightly worth playing, then you're gonna put them in because you can search them. Alright, starting with Scareclaw Arrival. Target a Scareclaw or Visa Starfrost in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. If a Scareclaw Link monster would be destroyed, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Well, that seems pretty good. I mean, on the one hand, it is just a revival. Like, you don't really want to open with 3 of this because you can only use once per turn, and if you don't have any monsters, it doesn't do much. It's maybe a 1 of, maybe a 3 of. Hard to say. Let's see what the rest of the spells have in store for us first. Scareclaw Decline, another normal spell. Target 1 primitive planet Reichphobia you control or in the graveyard. Return it to the hand, and then, if you control Visa Starfrost, you can change 1 monster your opponent controls face down. If 3 or more defense position monsters are on the field, you can banish this card from the graveyard. Add 1 Scareclaw card from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use this once per turn. Alright, so this seems like a recovery card. It gets Reichphobia out of the graveyard. I don't know why you would want to return it from your hand. We're not playing Visa Starfrost, I don't think. It's been a while since I've read that card, but I don't think its playstyle really matches with this. We can check it out when we look at tech cards, but it's most likely we're not going to get that other effect. And then the other one is just like, if you already got a bunch of monsters on the field, you can add 1 from your graveyard to your hand, which is not the situation you generally want to add stuff from your graveyard to your hand. If you're set up, you're already probably good. But we'll see. For now, I'll go ahead and put it in the side, and maybe we can add it in if it seems more useful later. Okay, next up, we've got a quick play, Scareclaw Straddle. Giggity? You can activate 1 of the following effects. Either target a Scareclaw or a Visa Starfrost in your monster zone and a face-up monster your opponent controls. Your monster gains attack and defense equal to your opponent's monster's attack or defense, whichever is higher. So it lets you get over those big things that 3900 can't get over. Although usually, again, stuff like that is like Abramax, where it doesn't matter if you gain attack. The thing that keeps you from running them over by battle is some effect. But what's the other one? When a card or effect is activated that targets a Scareclaw, negate that effect. Oh, okay, so it negates stuff. That might be worth it. I don't know how it seems kind of format dependent. It depends on what there is. I mean, this does stop you from like getting imperm, so maybe that'll be useful. It stops you from getting hit by a effect veiler. So I could see this as a 1 of or a 3 of, just like with anything, or even a none of if you just like can extend through it and it doesn't matter. But we'll keep it at 1 for now. It might be useful. Okay, next up, Scareclaw Defanging. Ooh, rude. This is a continuous spell, which usually continuous spells are going to be 1-ofs by default, because once you activate one, you don't need another one. It just stays around. But we'll see. Your opponent cannot target Scareclaw Link monsters or Visa Starfrost with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by card effects. Banish any monster destroyed by battle with a Scareclaw Link monster you control. You can banish 1 Link monster from your field or graveyard, target 1 card your opponent controls, and destroy it. You can only use this effect once per turn. Alright, not awful. It's just a pity that it only affects the Link monsters. I'm trying to think of a situation where like they have something that would target or destroy you, and they didn't use it to stop your combo. They're just holding on until you get the Link 3, and then you get this out. Now that being said, this does seem like a go second kind of deck where you're going to be playing into an opponent's field. So being able to put this out, not only does it prevent the bobblehead from being negated or whatever if you do it first, but also once you link the bobblehead away, you can then banish it from the graveyard to destroy a card. So it helps you tear apart boards a little bit. It just only works once you've got some setup. So once again, I feel like kind of format dependent. It really depends on how much targeting and destruction there is in the format. If they're playing a bunch of kaijus, you know, this isn't going to be all that useful. But maybe this might be something that, like, if we don't have enough extenders and we just want to have more protection, being able to lay this down, it's not awful. Okay, so we got some decent spells in here, but where do the traps set? These are going to be a very hard sell because, as I've already pointed out, this is a go second OTK deck. Ideally, we're going to start our turn, we're going to play into a board, destroy it, overwhelm them, and then just attack for 1,000,000,000,000,000 points of damage. In which case, we'll never get to a situation where we get to a next turn where we can use any of these traps. So unless this is something like it's a backup, if your OTK fails, maybe you search one of these, or it's something you can activate from the hand or something, like Imperm, I don't think we'll be playing any of these, but we'll see. We'll see. Start off with Scareclaw Alternative. Good old Visa Starfrost, look at him there. All the puppies think he's the shiniest. Tribute 3 Scareclaw monsters. For the rest of this turn, your opponent can only special summon monsters in defense position. During your turn, you can banish this card from the graveyard, inflict 100 damage for each defense position monster on the field. It's cheeky, it's a funny thing, it's basically like, this is the definition of like an oh shit button, right? It's, I failed to OTK. What can I do? Well, I can put them all in defense so I don't get OTK'd. And then for everything they summon, you deal damage. So if you're only off by like 500 damage or whatever, you can inflict that burn and kill them. That being said, no. No, especially not if maybe people are pointing out end of match procedures. Maybe if this was the TCG and you were playing where you had a time limit and whoever had the most life points at the end of that time limit. But on Master Duel, which is what we're building for, no. No way. Hey, next up, Scareclaw Twin Saw. I like that. It's got a, what they call assonance. You look that up. Tribute 1 Scareclaw monster, target 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. And if you do, if you control Visa Starfrost, banish those destroyed monsters instead of sending them to the graveyard. If a Link 3 or higher monster is on the field, you can banish this from your graveyard for the rest of the turn. Neither player can activate the effects of Link monsters. You can only activate 1 Twin Saw once per turn. Alright, so, you know, if you get forced to go first, this is a pretty damn good card. It's Icarus attack. Pop 1 of yours to pop 2 of theirs. If you've got a Visa Starfrost, you can banish them. And then you can immediately just banish this from the graveyard. Presumably you control the Link. And then your opponent just can't activate Link monsters. Which, especially if you have the other trap, is going to be the only thing they can really summon. So, pretty nice. Although, again, I don't know. Maybe you put in 1 for when they force you to go first. You definitely side deck this if you're in a format that has side decks. I guess we'll go ahead and hang on to 1, because this seems like if you're going to search a trap, this is probably the best trap. But we'll see, they've got 1 more, they've got a continuous trap. Scareclaw Sklash. It's like a clash and a slash combined. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Once per turn, you can target 1 Scareclaw or Visa you control. It can attack while in face-up defense position this turn. If it does, apply its attack or defense, whichever is higher, for damage calculation. When your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a Scareclaw in the extra monster zone, send this card to the graveyard and negate that effect. You can only use 1 once per turn. Alright, so it's a negate, but if you get a negate, you lose the other effect, but that's not really a problem because losing that effect doesn't do a whole lot. I guess it can help you OTK because there's nothing unlike Crusadias, which can't attack when a Link monster points to them. These things could attack, they summon in defense, and they have 0 attack. But you can presumably get another 2,000 defense, or I guess Rykart, his attack goes up to 2,100, that's pretty neat. But yeah, this is a very hard sell. Not doing that. I think we're just playing the 1 trap. I think that's the only thing we need. I'll go ahead and say, like, you know, we'll run 1 more of these. We'll get some 2-ofs in here, and maybe we can add some more as it goes. So there you go. That is your core engine. From here, there's really just 2 things you need to be looking at. How can we make our win condition even more consistent? And how can we break through the boards if we're going to be doing that go second OTK build? Which, I think that's what we're trying to do. There's definitely some tools if you want to go first, but I think the go second sounds more fun, if nothing else. Just attack, big number, and like I said before, the Kashtiras can definitely help with that. Getting Fenrir, this is at 2 in Master Duel, so we'll play it at 2. It's an extra body on board, it can be Link material, it searches the Scareclaw Kashtira. If this gets destroyed or whatever, then you can banish it out of the graveyard to summon this. It just goes pretty good. We could go ahead and read Visa Starfrost real quick, see what this guy does. He's a level 6 warrior tuner, if you didn't know. 2100 attack, 1500 defense. If this card is in your hand, you can target one monster you control with a different type and attribute than this card, destroy it, and if you do, special summon it. You can only use this effect once per turn. When this card destroys a opponent's monster by battle, you can make this card gain attack equal to half of the original attack or defense, whichever is higher. So basically, destroy a monster on the field, summon this. It's kind of extension, but you're also getting rid of the stuff, which doesn't really feel like something you want to do in this deck. I don't think that's really what you're gonna be doing. Now, of course, if you're playing on Master Duel, you gotta have the Master Duel tax. You gotta have 3 Maxi. You gotta have 3 Ash Blossom. There we go. And Called By. Now you notice I'm putting those in the side deck, and that's because even though these should go in here, I want to try to do something a little bit different. I want to try to build something that, like, you know, theoretically, let's say Maxi actually gets banned. What else would you do? There's so many other staples, so many other cards you could play that would work really good in this. And really, Ash, probably not all that good, not something you really want to play unless Maxi is in the format. So if this gets banned, you don't want to play this either. You do probably still want to play Called By, just in case your stuff gets ashed or hit with, whatchamacallit, Ghost Ogre or anything else like that. Just put that in there as the anti-hand trap grenade. Alright, so I've been thinking of all the possible go second techs we could get. There's quite a few of them, but a lot of them don't work for OTK decks, especially ones like this that want to deal a whole bunch of damage. You know, you don't want to go for Dark Ruler no more because you're not really going to be setting up any disruptions. You want to attack. You don't want to give up your battle phase, so you can't do evenly matched. And Lightning Storm, while it's usually pretty good, only affects monsters in attack position. And if you're doing things right, all of those will be in defense position. That's what we want to do, that's where we want to be. So I figured, why not play the card that puts all your opponent's monsters in defense position? This is a pretty popular tech card anyway at the moment. It's good for dealing with Kashtira Riseheart, good for dealing with purely stuff. And that's Book of Eclipse. Change all monsters on the field face down. During the end phase of this turn, change as many face down positions your opponent controls face up, and then they draw cards equal to the number of face-up monsters. That end part is pretty bad if it resolves, but hopefully it won't resolve, because you're going to have a 3900 that can attack everything and does piercing damage, and you will just absolutely win the game. So we'll take that. Now, a lesser-known tech, but actually does the same thing, pretty much, with fundamental difference, Swords of Concealing Light. This is something I used in a bunch of cheesy decks. Probably a little too cheesy for this, if we're being honest, but I mean, what else are you gonna play? It's time to break out the fun tech cards. You've got the deck that wants everything in defense, you might as well use it. So destroy this during your second standby phase. When it resolves, change all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position, and they cannot change their battle positions. So we'll go and put 3 of these. This is also, I believe, a normal or rare on Master Duel. And you know, if you're trying to build this on your own and you find that a whole bunch of these are SRs or URs, you don't have enough to buy the Book of Eclipses, this is a rare. This is basically a budget option that does a very similar thing to Book of Eclipse. So who knows, you may end up taking this out. I mean, this has some disadvantages being continuous. They can get rid of it with like spell trap removal if that exists, or basically any card that pops, whereas this is a quick play. This can also, if they force you to go first, you can set it and use it as disruption, unlike this. But for now, we're just gonna go doubles on it. We're gonna double down on everything. So another thing you might want to consider, especially for this format, is kaijus. These are really good monster removal. They can also double as extenders. You can give one to your opponent by tributing their monsters, and then if you open with another one, you can summon it on your side of the field. And normally you go for Gameciel. It has 2200 attack, that's the lowest. But we have Triheart that's going to put everything into defense. So I think it's actually better to play the ones that have the lowest defense, Dogaran and Godarla. Play 2 of these, 2 each, maybe with Interrupted Kaiju Slumber as something to wipe the field. That might be pretty good. For now, though, I think the only other thing we really have to worry about is a whole bunch of spell traps. Spell trap removal in particular. If we have to go against something like Labyrinth, we might be in some trouble. So I'm gonna say go ahead and do Lightning Storm. Even though it doesn't affect the defense position monsters, we're basically playing this as like Harpy's Feather Duster. And by the way, let's just go ahead and put Feather Duster in there as well, just to like add that extra card. And at this point, I feel like we've got more than enough removal, more than enough things to deal with our opponent's board. What we need probably is some more extenders, more monsters in general, because we're actually kind of low, even though, granted, pretty much any monster here is going to get us full combo. But we want some more we could special summon. And there's a few options for that. Pankratops is really good. You can special summon this. It can be a big beater, it can be link material, or you can tribute it off to pop any cards that are causing you trouble. And then you can like summon a Fenrir if you haven't already. Just a nice thing, especially now that I believe it's at 2, maybe even 3 in Master Duel. You could also play more Kashtiras. These do the same thing as Fenrir. Unicorn can get rid of some pesky stuff. Maybe even Ogre just for the extra attack. But looking over everything we have, I realized that the 3 main Scareclaws are all beast-type monsters. So I'm actually going to advise for Alpha the Master of Beasts. This is a level 8, 3000 attack, and you can just special summon it from your hand if the attack of monsters your opponent controls is higher than the monsters that you control. So basically, if you're going second and they have any monsters and you have none, free special summon. But if they have like 4 monsters, or basically more monsters that have attack than 2400, you can get Fenrir and also do Alpha. Pretty nice. And in addition to being an absolutely huge body, target any number of beast, beast warrior, or wing beast you control, return them to the hand, then return face-up monsters your opponent controls to the hand, equal to the number of cards returned. And then Alpha can't attack directly the turn you use this, but that's not really all that important. The important part is, returns himself to the hand, and then you've got a non-targeting bounce to the hand, which is pretty good. That's just on its own. If you manage to normal summon any of these and something's really giving you some trouble, or if you have extra ones of these because these all have 0 attack anyway, you can bounce them back to the hand and potentially clear the entire field of stuff. So I feel like this has a whole bunch of potential that maybe could be used better by this deck than anything else. Speaking of types, people have also pointed out this is a level 4 warrior. We have 1 more space left, so let's just go ahead. Reinforcements of the army. We'll put that in there. We'll do some stuff. And then all that really leaves is the extra deck, which not sure we need anything, but I'll take a moment. I'll get something together. Alright, so I've cobbled together an extra deck. It's mostly for show. The only things you really need are Scareclaw, Tryhard, and Lightheart, and you can maybe even get away with just 1 of each of these. Everything else here, it's just extra. It's just for edge cases, just for corner cases. Sometimes you need removal. The Nightmares are really good for that. Almost everything in the deck is Earth, so you can make Ausa, and if your opponent's on Earth, you can take one of their monsters. That's kind of neat. I find it's always good to have something going first. I don't think we're really locked by anything, so you can pretty easily make a 4-mat or a 3-mat Appaloosa. Underworld Goddess for cards that can't otherwise be removed, maybe things that are unaffected. And then we've got a whole bunch of rank 3 monsters, because again, we can just special summon all these level 3s. Most of the time, you're just keeping them there so that your Link monster can get a bunch of attack. But I mean, if someone forces you to go first, Cicada King is a monster negate. Fortune Tune is one of those cards that, like, it can attack and survive any battle, and then you can make Zeus and then wipe the board. So there's that, and this is just spell trap removal. There's probably a bunch of better things you could play, better Links or Ixies or whatever, but these are just some ideas. And again, most of the time, you're not going to be going into any of these. So now that we've got a functioning deck, it's time to test it. We're gonna grab some people, try a few test hands, and see how our version of the deck works out. See if our theory has come together in a way we hoped. Alright, so I couldn't actually find someone to test with me, either because they're too sleepy, or they're at work, or they don't feel like dueling, or they don't have Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, which is fine, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega offers something pretty neat, something that helps with testing, which is AI bots. I guess technically Master Duel has these if you go into the solo mode, but they're not very good. I think the most powerful one you can face against is like Plunder Patrol, But here we're gonna go against something that should be an actual challenge. We've got the Adamancipator bot. So we'll throw that in, and we'll choose to go second. So let them play, see what they can make. See if they have a board, and see if we can break it. We've got some pretty good board breaking tools here. Oh, this is during either player's main phase. I did not realize that. Cool facts. We will not be doing that, though. We're just gonna let them go, see what they can build. Alright, not the most competent board, you know? When you think of Adamancipator, usually it's not the 2 synchros and that's it. But still a decent opportunity to show what we've got. If you want to imagine that this is like a bar on the floor or something else, you could see how this would still work. Where like, summon the Fenrir. And then like, if they negate this, that's 1 card out. We'll just go ahead and search another Fenrir. Then we can special summon Alpha, the Master of Beasts, and we can use its effect. And again, if you just want to pretend for the sake of trying to think about this hypothetical, if they had 2 negates, we could probably bait both of them out or get rid of both of them just with those 2. And the neat thing about Alpha, right, is that you can still just special summon him again. He can't attack directly this turn, and he can't use his effect again, but he is a monster on the field. And sometimes that's all you need. Normal summon. Put that down there, and then we make the Lightheart. Go ahead and use the Lightheart. They are going to banish that from the graveyard, and I'm going to be like, you didn't say the magic word. Special summon this by banishing it out of the graveyard ourselves. And then we get Reichphobia. Yay! Oh, and did you activate a monster effect? Get you out of there. Just get out. Just do. I don't want to have to deal with it. I don't want to have to deal with it. We're good. We're done. We'll do this. We'll add to hand. What's the one that lets you attack? Up to the number with different names. Yeah. This is the one I want. So then we can, just for the sake of argument, again, let's pretend that this got, like, baited out. This got negated. We won't even attack with this. Let's assume this is dead. Look, it's probably dead anyway. We can then special summon this. We can special summon this. We've got 3 defense position monsters. Pop a card. I target 1 level 3 in your graveyard. Special summon it. Oh, I don't have a level 3 in my graveyard. But I do have a Scareclaw in my graveyard. So we'll bring that back. And yeah, now we've got a 4200 that can attack 3 times. Easy peasy. Oh, and this can attack too, while it's in defense, you know, just for 26. It's always funny when Sideways Monster goes in for attack. But you can see how, you know, we could have played through a couple things and we still had more stuff. We still got to pop a card, we still got to do some stuff. We didn't even use this effect. We could have, like, linked these off or sent them off for, made an Ixie or something, and then brought them back and got another one with Scareclaw. So, just extension for days. Let's go ahead and try that again. We'll try another one against the AI, see how a different hand, maybe they can build a better board. No. Alright, they went again, and I'm starting to doubt this AI. I could have sworn they've done something good before, but this time it's just nothing, and yeah, we just immediately do this. Go to sleep. Just everyone goes to sleep. And from there, it's, you know, it's easy peasy. Activate this. Oh, they had hand traps. Would this have done anything? No, I don't think so. It's fine though, because any one monster makes this, right? This comes out, gets me Reichphobia. We could go ahead and use the Reichphobia. Add another card to hand. Why, yes. Why, yes, I will. This is the one. Oh, wait, we want this one. We want this one. We're going to activate this. Special summon. Activate this. Special summon. And what do you know? Bob's your uncle. Trips to win. Bada bingo. There's Tryhard, and we can actually use the Tryhard effect. Get one. This can attack all monsters. Yeah, we want this. So this can attack all monsters, and then we get to search the one that lets us do piercing. So we don't get the big attack boost, which is unfortunate. But we still get 3 attacks, and we get to do piercing. I cannot see which ones were face down. But, you know, less damage is less damage. We'll see if we can do this. And also, you can't target me. Why not? We got all our protection spells. if you could imagine a world where they had Valor, that might actually have done something. It gains attack equal to the monster's attack. Huh. Sure. Yeah, let's do that. Select a card, this one. Give me 2,400 extra attack. That means I do 3,000, and I keep that attack. So there you go. There you go. Maybe that spell is better than I thought. Maybe I should play 3, because not only could it stop certain hand traps or like imperm or whatever, but it could do a whole lot of damage in the damage step. Granted, I think we won anyway, so maybe that was a win more. I didn't actually calculate. Let's try a couple more. I'll come back when they have an actual substantial board to play through. Alright, so the Adamancipator AI actually isn't working all that well. They can build some synchros, but they don't like negate stuff when things actually happen. Disappointing. So we're gonna go up against Salamandrates. Salamandrates can hopefully set Roar, set the other one. Maybe they find some way. It's like very consistent. If any deck can be played by an AI, it's probably Salamandrates, right? Right? Let's see if they can put up something. There we go. Look at all those back row. Those back row gotta be doing something, and we're at a disadvantage. Book of Eclipse does nothing. Let's see. They got the Roar in the graveyard. They don't have the Balinks in the graveyard. But we always lead with Fenrir. Fenrir says hello. Fenrir says goodbye. Let's see. Guess we try this. Add from deck to hand? Yes. We want to get the Reichart, right? Because that's a good normal summon. That gets us spells, and we like spells. Normal summon. Alright, we'll get the one that gets stuff back. We'll get things back that got sent. We'll get that, and then we'll go ahead into Lightheart. Get lighthearted about it, shall we? Get another Reichphobia. Unfortunately, we can only activate one per turn. But we can bring back something. Yeah. We can revive, we can spatial summon, and then we can make try hard. They're gonna try. They're gonna try very hard. Now, unfortunately, while we can add this back, we've already normaled and specialed. Oh wait, it does just get it back, doesn't it? Neat. So we got that, and we just want the multiple attacks, right? Yeah, we want big attacks. 2 of them things, 2 of them things. So this doesn't quite OTK. But we've got quite a bit. I'm just wondering what the face downs are. Hit for 2,000. Hit for oh, that's game because they used the Solemn. We've just got way more than game, and I know. Okay, let's try one more. They set up something, you know. They had a Solemn. We played through that. We didn't even need all these other cards. They were just superfluous. Let's see if Salad can put up one more board, one more test hand to give us an idea of this. Alright, so they got Max C. You're gonna Max C me, you coward! And then they're gonna roar the fucking... Alright, and they've got the Balinks, so... Like, we can do this, and they just Balinks it. Yeah, to prevent everything. But we can Book of Eclipse. Yeah, let's Eclipse. Go to sleep, and we'll normal summon the baloney. We'll go ahead and make the Bobblehead. Bobblehead gets us Reichphobia. Reichphobia does some stuff. Add to hand. Yeah, we go for Reichheart. Reichheart says hello. That gets us another... No! Effect Valor! I needed that to bring stuff back! Okay, we've got an actual game on our hands. Well, I guess we get rid of their field spell. You know, that's just what we do. We could make Ausa, that doesn't do anything. We can make this, but it's not in the main monster zone. I don't remember what the stats of anything is. Guess we'll find out. Either way, if we flip it up now, it's not flipped up by the battle. Or it's not flipped up by Book of Eclipse, so they don't get to draw. So we just got a Twin Saw and a Dream. Go get the Roar back. They've got so many cards. Boral Sword. Well, I mean, that's what we do, right? Like, hit this, Destroy the Boral Sword, destroy the Sunlight Wolf. Well, that worked out better than expected. That was easy peasy. And they're gonna judgment the Rhoda. Okay, we've got another bobblehead. Bobblehead, get me another Reichphobia. Reichphobia, go. Get me another Reichheart. Reichheart, special summon in defense mode. Search, grab Arrival. Arrival, activate, bring back this one. And then we got our Tryhard. Yay, Tryhard. Now we just need to get some kind of attack stat on here. No, I don't want to activate Chainsaw, Twin Saw. This one gives the extra attack bonus, right? Yeah, we'll get that one. And there you go. If at first you don't, oh, we still don't win. Oh wait, yeah we do. We can attack multiple times. No, we don't have the one that attacks multiple times. We just gain the extra attack. All we gotta do is, oh, we're locked into, well, we just gotta hope they can't do anything. I mean, we can turn off, the Twin Saw allows us to turn off all links for their turn, so what are they gonna do without any links, huh? Neither player can activate the effects of link monsters on the field. Yeah, take that. Yeah, that's right. You couldn't do anything, could you? Okay, we got back. We're fine. And now we're back from outer space. We'll blow up that big old roar and then attack you in the face. I think I rest my argument. And there you go. You know, not the most optimal testing experience, but sometimes that's all you can get, especially when you're playing online. Whether it's Omega or Master Duel playing against the solo mode bots. That's how you can test. It's not the best opponents, but it should still give you an idea of what this deck's strengths and weaknesses are and whether or not it works. And I mean, oh boy, does it work. There's definitely some changes we'd want to make. I think we still want more monsters, less of the tech cards, probably not as many of these one-ofs. I'm still not so sure about these two. But I mean, that's the whole thing about deck building. It's a process. You don't build one deck and then you're done. You test it, you look at how it does, and then you make changes, you make refinements as you go along. And that's just as important as being able to determine what to build in the first place. I'm not sure if I could make a show about that. Who knows? But either way, it was fun to learn how these work. I now have a better understanding. If I ever did want to build them, it should be pretty easy. And even if I just play against them, I'm now more familiar with what their weaknesses are, where their choke points are, so I should be better at defeating Scareclaw when I encounter them. I wanted to thank once more Damon Dario for requesting this over on the Patreon. You can join the Patreon yourself if you want. There's a link down in the description. And I'd be remiss, he did mention he really wanted me to look at adventure with the Scareclaws. There is apparently a lot of synergy because you're not really using a lot of normal summoned monsters. I didn't want to do that, both because I didn't want to sit here and have to read all the adventure cards in addition to all the Scareclaw cards, but also the adventure engine is, at least in Master Duel, not very strong. They've hit it so hard and they haven't unhit anything from it yet. So I really don't feel like it's all that worthwhile in Master Duel, but you know, if you're looking for somewhere else to take this, as I mentioned earlier, this is a pretty small core engine. You can mix this with a lot of stuff. I've seen Tri-Brigade builds of this that take advantage of the beast typing. I've seen Kashtira builds, and obviously there's the adventure build. So there's a lot of different ways you can take this if you decide Scareclaws are for you. For now though, I've got to get back to playing ninjas, but hopefully you enjoyed this show. Let me know down in the comments, and until next time, good luck! Chat, what happens after the good luck? You could tell them, right? And have fun! They got it, they know it, they're on it, they're good. Yeah, look, they added it, they got the thing. Wow, Serenity. That's a lot of money. Thank you very much.